This morning, just moments ago, John Robert Bolton II pled guilty in federal court to the unlawful retention of national defense information. According to the terms of the plea agreement,
Stop scrolling. A massive national security bombshell just dropped in federal court, and the media is scrambling to cover it up. Watch this.
Taxes are a little higher.
And you just found LA and all they talked about was the tax.
There's that. No, we're not competitive. Our tax rates are not competitive, period.
I know.
Yeah, just a fact.
Wait, did you catch that? That is the governor of California, completely off script, quietly admitting to a room full of people that his state's taxes are absolutely brutal and entirely uncompetitive. We are constantly being fed this perfectly polished narrative from politicians when the cameras are rolling, but the second they think they are in a safe, private environment, the absolute truth slips out. Look at the body language here. He is smiling, casual, and completely aware that the economic policies he champions publicly are fundamentally broken behind the scenes. This is the ultimate peek behind the political curtain. When you contrast this candid admission with the heavy-handed tax policies he pushes on a national level, it completely unravels the entire facade. It is one thing to debate policy, but it is a whole different ballgame when the architect of the policy admits it does not work. This is exactly why you have to pay attention to what they say when they think the microphones are turned off.
Take a look at the Kalshi prediction market. We have already seen four House Democratic incumbents lose so far. How about the chance that 6+ House Democratic incumbents lose their primaries in 2026? Look at this. According to Kalshi, a 66% chance. The highest in the 21st century before this year in a non-census year was just 3. We're talking about a real chance that will double that previous.
Look at the numbers flashing on that screen. A 66% chance that more than half a dozen establishment incumbents get completely wiped out in their own primaries. This isn't some fringe polling data. This is CNN putting the writing on the wall for the entire country to see. We are looking at a literal political earthquake happening in real time. The establishment is losing its grip, and the panic is starting to seep through the television screen. You can hear the tension in the anchor's voice as he breaks down the prediction market odds. They are realizing that the base is completely fractured, and traditional safety nets for these politicians no longer exist. What you are witnessing is a total rebellion from the inside out. Incumbents who have sat comfortably in their seats for decades are suddenly waking up to the reality that their own voters are ready to hand them walking papers. Pay close attention to how the media tries to spin this going forward, because they are struggling to control a narrative that has already escaped the building.
He has committed very serious crimes. This is a devastating indictment. I speak here as an alumnus of the Justice Department myself, because not only is it powerful, it's very narrowly tailored. They didn't throw everything up against the wall to see what would stick. This really is a rifle shot, and I think it should be the end of Donald Trump's political career.
You have to appreciate the sheer irony of this moment. Here is a man sitting on national television, sternly lecturing the public about devastating crimes and strict adherence to the law. He is using all the right buzzwords, looking directly into the camera, and positioning himself as the ultimate moral authority on national security. But when you place this clip next to the reality of what just unfolded in federal court, it becomes a masterclass in projection. It is staggering to watch someone navigate an interview with this level of absolute confidence while allegedly sitting on a mountain of their own legal vulnerabilities. Notice how he emphasizes the word devastating. It is almost like he is foreshadowing his own legal demise without even realizing it. The lack of self-awareness here is genuinely off the charts. It makes you question every single talking head that gets put on a screen to tell you what to think about justice and accountability. They are playing a game of chess, assuming the audience will never look closely at the board.
It's time for a national billionaires tax and a new social contract. It's time for an economic reset, a true minimum tax on billionaires that, well, ensures the people at the very top pay at least the tax rate their own workers pay. We also have to rewrite those inheritance rules so that the largest intergenerational wealth transfer in human history, estimated by, well, be $124 trillion that will be changing hands doesn't lock in a permanent American aristocracy of inherited wealth.
Let's pause right here and dissect what is actually being proposed. He is not just casually suggesting a slight adjustment to the tax code. He is openly pitching a massive, unprecedented wealth transfer system. Notice the phrasing he uses: economic reset and social contract. These are highly calculated trigger words designed to make radical economic shifts sound like routine administrative updates. He is floating the idea of the government acting as the ultimate executor of private family estates, fundamentally changing how generational wealth operates in this country. It is a terrifying level of overreach masked behind a calm, reassuring political smile. The sheer confidence it takes to sit in a beautifully decorated room and tell millions of people that the government knows how to handle their life savings better than they do is wild. Do not let the smooth delivery fool you. This is a blueprint for complete economic control, and he is testing the waters to see exactly how much the public will tolerate before they finally push back.
This is a maximum sentence of up to 5 years in prison, followed by a term of up to 3 years of supervised release. He will also pay a fine of $2.25 million and will forfeit his pension under the HIS Act.
Now listen to the exact legal phrasing the reporter is reading off that document. A maximum sentence of 5 years, massive multi-million-dollar fines, and the complete forfeiture of federal pensions. This is not a slap on the wrist or a minor administrative error. This is the federal government dropping the absolute hammer on one of the most connected insiders in modern political history. When you strip away the partisan noise, the raw facts of this plea agreement are staggering. The justice system is essentially putting a massive spotlight on the hypocrisy of the intelligence community. You have a guy who spent his entire career operating in the deepest, most secure shadows of the government, suddenly forced to stand in the bright light of a federal courtroom and admit he broke the exact rules he championed. It completely shatters the illusion that these high-level operators are somehow above the law. Watch how quickly former allies distance themselves now that the legal gravity of this situation has become a matter of permanent public record.
That needs to happen is court reform and court expansion.
Yeah, look, you're getting me closer to your point of view.
For a guy who recognized the urgency of the moment with Prop 50, and in fact, the only Democratic state to have successfully redrawn its maps ahead of 2026, that is what I think is the natural evolution.
God bless
for somebody
you.
like you.
I'm with you. I'm done winning arguments. We gotta win.
Yeah.
And we gotta consolidate.
Stop and really listen to the strategy being laid out in this podcast clip. He is flat out saying that because they are losing the standard legal arguments, the only logical solution left is to completely rewrite the rules of the game. Consolidate power. He actually says the quiet part out loud. When politicians start openly talking about court expansion and structural reform just because they are taking losses, every single alarm bell should be ringing in your head. It is the political equivalent of flipping over the Monopoly board because you landed on Boardwalk and can't afford the rent. This isn't about ensuring justice or creating a fair system. It is about permanently cementing a specific ideology into the framework of the country. The fact that he is so comfortable saying this into a microphone on a casual podcast shows exactly how normalized this radical thinking has become behind closed doors. They are not hiding the playbook anymore. They are waving it right in our faces.
Document in count 12, for example, revealed intelligence about an adversary's plans for an attack conducted against U.S. forces in another country. It contained human intelligence using sensitive sources and methods, and it discussed a covert action program.
Check out the specific details of what was actually compromised here. We are talking about human intelligence sources and covert action programs being mishandled. This isn't just a few embarrassing emails accidentally left on a laptop. This is the exact type of highly sensitive Tier 1 information that gets people operating in the field put in immediate life-threatening danger. When you hear the reporter break down the sheer volume of the documents involved, it completely changes the context of everything this guy has ever said on television. It proves that the loudest voices demanding transparency and security are often the ones operating with the most reckless disregard for both. It is a stark reminder to never blindly trust the experts just because they wear a nice suit and carry an impressive title. The real story is always hiding in the fine print of the court filings, and this one exposes a level of arrogance that is almost impossible to comprehend.
Democrats didn't learn from their autopsy report, so their message is anti-Trump, get Trump. And this is exactly why these Democrat radical socialists are winning, Harris, because they have, even though it's a dangerous message, they have a message. And it's all about a frustration that voters are feeling deeply today about affordability. That is their front door. And once you go through it, they want Medicare for all. They want to expand socialism. So we're talking about childcare, rent, expanding the Supreme Court. And Hakeem Jeffries is in denial. He's being tone deaf if he isn't realizing that his party is being hijacked. I'm looking across the country, Harris. It's not just states like New York, which is left. It is Colorado. It's Michigan, which is a battleground swing state. So if Democrats don't get smarter, they're going to be losing their party to radical communism.
Look at the absolute chaos unfolding in these primary races. The strategist here is pointing out something that mainstream analysts are desperately trying to ignore. The traditional moderate wing of the party is being systematically dismantled block by block. These aren't just isolated incidents. It is a highly coordinated surgical takeover at the grassroots level. The establishment is completely bleeding out, and they don't even have a bandage big enough to stop it. What is fascinating is watching the old guard scramble to figure out how to handle challengers who have absolutely zero respect for the traditional hierarchy. They are being out-hustled, out-messaged, and outvoted by a faction that wants to burn the old playbook to ashes. Keep your eyes on these swing districts because the internal civil war happening right here is going to dictate the political landscape for the next decade. The old rules of engagement are completely dead.
Gas prices are not up, they're down. Below $4 a gallon nationally. Oil's trading at $71 a barrel. We don't run the gas price tracker on the screen anymore for a reason, you know? I mean, it's because it's a non-story. The pool was vandalized. You keep bringing up the pool. It was vandalized by people who were so broken-brained about our politics that they went out there and vandalized the pool. It's in the court documents, which you can read yourself today. And as it relates to costs, the Republicans cut taxes. Working people all over this country got major tax refunds. We have a booming job market. We have a stock market that's up. Right now, we have an economy that's on the upswing because of Republican policies. And we've got insane Democrats winning primaries, promising socialism all over this country. Those are the facts, and that's the argument that will be carried to the election.
This is where the narrative completely collides with reality. You have the panel trying to maintain a very specific storyline about economic despair, and then the data just gets dropped right on the table. When the price of oil and national gas averages are literally displayed on the screen, it forces the conversation into a deeply uncomfortable corner. You can see the immediate pivot happening in real time. When politicians can no longer rely on economic panic to drive their agenda, they have to scramble to find a new villain. It is fascinating to watch the psychological gymnastics required to ignore hard numbers simply because they don't fit the talking points prepared for the segment. This clip is a perfect example of why you should always verify the math yourself. Do not let the talking heads dictate your reality when the actual statistics are hiding in plain sight, completely contradicting the panic they are trying to sell you.
This is clearly retribution. I mean, the idea that they just picked John Bolton, a prominent critic of the president, at random. They're essentially going after any critic, any opposition in an effort to intimidate them. That's what this is about.
Did you notice the immediate deflection strategy here? Instead of addressing the massive, undeniable legal facts of a guilty plea, the conversation is instantly flipped to claim political victimization. It is the oldest trick in the political survival handbook. If the facts are devastating, attack the motive of the people bringing the facts to light. It is incredible to watch someone use national television to spin a clear-cut federal espionage conviction into a story about intimidation. The cognitive dissonance required to sit there and pretend this is just a random act of retribution, ignoring the 1,000 pages of leaked classified intelligence, is genuinely breathtaking. They are betting everything on the hope that their audience has an incredibly short memory and zero access to the actual court documents. It is a bold, desperate strategy, and it shows exactly how terrified they are of the domino effect this conviction is about to cause. The truth is always hiding in the raw footage. Hit subscribe and I'll keep exposing it. See you next time.